particularly if the government's purpose was just to deal with the deficit, they'd have a mothballing policy. You'd say, well, yeah, sorry, we've got to cut the library service for 4 years, we've got to reduce this service, but when we've sorted out the problems, you can have them back again. But that isn't what it's about. What it is about is a total restructure of the welfare state, privatisation of anything that has to continue, and the removal of things which they feel don't have to continue. I mean, that's why Cameron was so vague about what the big society meant throughout the election. Now when people ask him what the big society is like, it looks like the fox who's just been given the key to the chicken house. The news castigated a demonstrator who climbed up the cenotaph. I've learned subsequently his name's Charlie Gilmore, and he's the son of a rock star. He said he didn't quite realise what it was. We got carried away, and he apologised. And the news quite rightly said that it was a memorial to the dead of 2 world wars, which of course it is. But the real living memorial to the dead of 2 world wars, and particularly the dead of World War II, is the welfare state, the National Health Service, and free education. Now, you may not have noticed it, but, excuse me, Clare was on Newsnight recently, and I like to beat Clare up, particularly when she's standing in elections. And they kept asking her after one of the students, it was after the Millbank demonstration, where, I mean, it seemed to me they were sort of saying, don't bother going past this building, why don't you walk in, it's the Tory party headquarters. And noticeably, in Egypt, when people take over the government headquarters, it's praised in the press here. But they kept trying to focus on the so-called excessive levels of violence there. And incidentally, no one justifies the fire extinguisher incident, though I personally think a 32-month sentence was intended to put people off wanting to go on demonstrations rather than a just penalty for that incident. But anyway, Jeremy kept, instead of asking about why are there more students on the streets than there have been for years, etc., he kept trying to draw Clare on the violence question. And in the end he said, well, Clare, it's clear that you're not going to answer my question. And Clare said, and the reason I mentioned it's such a brilliant response, said, but Jeremy, you're not asking the right question. The question the media and the government are interested in is how to bolster a failed, exploitative and discredited system. The question we should be interested in is how we can replace it with one that meets people's needs for a better world. So we face the destruction of the welfare state, privatisation of the NHS, mass unemployment, including highest youth unemployment for a couple of decades. We're seeing a rise in racism. The question is, and as a friend of mine who's from the Indian Workers Association always says, unemployment is the swamp in which the mosquitoes of racism breed. We've got Cameron saying we should all go monocultural. If like me you feel we should do something about it, I hope you will get as many as possible onto, I haven't got the thing here to wave, the demonstration which is being held on the 26th of March. I think it's the sort of thing you'll be able to boast your grandchildren about, because there will be hundreds of thousands of people there just winding up, if that's the way it is. You need to do it bigger, by the way. I don't think it will be quite like in Egypt, though there was a lovely, when we had a Valentine's Day protest outside Downing Street, there was a lovely poem which someone read out which said, I know it's out of date because you don't get gyros anymore, but it's difficult to get the rhyme otherwise. So on this high note I'd like to finish. Look at what they did in Tunis. So don't sit waiting for your gyro. let's turn London into Cairo. So don't worry about the kettling, there won't be kettling people there, there'll be so many people involved. Come along, bring other people along, and look up the Coalition of Resistance on the websites, get involved. Thank you very much.